Impa Kasanganay, thank you for joining me today. How's everything out there, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you. How are you today?
Man, you know me, hanging out, doing the job, the usual stuff. I know you got a big fight upcoming here on August 4th, part of the PFL playoffs, but I do want to talk about your travels through the US, just because the pictures look awesome, the videos look awesome.
Thanks.
Tell me some more. Like, you were trying to get through all 50 states, but you're fighting maybe
Yeah,
5 times this year.
yeah.
So tell me everything, man.
So the 50 states and three countries this year is somewhat on a pause, but it's not done. It's not done for sure. Go get this title at the end of the year. Our first step, obviously, August 4th in the title fight, and after that, I'm gonna take a ride. Right, I'm gonna give the belt to my parents and hit the road. That's it. Just like sit back. But man, like so far in the past year or so, it's been Texas through the Hill Country in Austin, Texas, Austin to Dallas, all around Vegas. Most recently, I rode through Red Rock Canyon and like Blue Diamond out in Las Vegas. Was beautiful. Really, just a great landscape. I like the desert, open roads. Last year I was in Wales and went all over Cardiff, Wales, to the mountains of Cardiff, down to Ogmore by the Sea. That was really fun, and like I'm hoping to do some more riding here soon on the bikes, and then obviously living in South Florida is still beautiful. So here in Naples, down almost to Key Largo, all that stuff. So like looking forward to building more with that. But man, I'm grateful. I love traveling. Hopefully I'll get some more rides in soon.
Man, it looks so cool, and it's the coolest looking bike. What are you riding here? What is this one?
I rode a 2006 Triumph Scrambler. So
It's a beast. That's a nice looking bike, eh?
that's my baby. Dash. That's a
Nice.
dash.
Few years back, I did a road trip through the western US,
Mhm.
and it's a little bit surreal to drive through a lot of these areas where it's like beautiful forest land, and then it's desolate desert for
Right.
miles and miles and miles. And then Las Vegas comes out of nowhere. Like it's just in the
Mhm.
middle of the desert, right? It's a weird thing to
Right.
drive up to.
Yeah. I think that's interesting, and I like the ride, and I love history too. So, and I need to get more into history, especially fighting in Texas near the Alamo and all those just historic facts are cool to me. But
Hmm.
yeah, like think about how the mafia was a big influence in building that. It's like, why did you pick the middle of the desert? There had to be a reason. There had to be a reason. It's just like that spot where they were, and maybe trade routes or something, or whatever activity they were doing, right? Like had to be done out there. But I think it's interesting. Like nothing Vegas, right? So
Vegas is one in a million, but it's weird thing to think about that the mafia did stuff decades ago.
mm,
Gambling was so prevalent, professional boxing was so prevalent
mm,
that years and years later, here we are doing this basically because of how big of an influence these guys had. You know
right,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Shout out to them. Thank you to those families.
All right, so you're going to be fighting August for it against Marthin Hamlet. How's training coming along? How's the body feel? This is going to be your fourth fight this year so
Yeah,
far. Tell me everything.
man, I love it. Body's well, and I love to fight. I love to get active and train year round. It's like I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm at peace. Body's well. Training's going very well. Um, Prepared and looking forward to claiming victory August 4th. Martin's awesome. Good guy, good fighter, has skill, comes from a good team, good teams, and his coaches. So it's like that's what I want. That's how you get to becoming a champion. You got to earn it, and yeah, um, um, I am I'm dialed in. I'm dialed in.
Man, what is your prediction for the end of the fight? How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I see me getting finished by knockout. Me getting the finish by knockout, like um, dominant from the get go, push the pace, break them. You know, match intensity, surpass it. Um, we go with like where I want in my own auspices, and just having that intelligent, you're gonna see the most intelligent me, yeah, when it comes to fighting, and the most like sharp me that you've seen stand up and on the ground, and then the in between and transitions, like winning every single second, every single moment of every exchange, and yeah, like that. That's what you're gonna see, and it's like we've been refining. Like I see where I could have done better in my last fight, done better the fights before, and we're capitalizing. Just like like I said, like got to get a good work in me. Gonna continue to do that. He's gonna continue to do that, and I've it's gonna be a culmination, just like of all that my coaches and I have been working on, and my teammates and training partners. So I'm very very excited, and I'm very focused on what I need to do.
Is it you're a full-time fighter physically, But it also sounds like you're a bit of a full-time fighter mentally, like always focused on winning. Like, do you ever find like maybe that's why you were traveling so much is to get your mind off things? But do you feel like a fighter full-time, like 24/7?
Yeah, for me, it's like it's the warrior's lifestyle. It's not something that I'm like, oh, like that's my life. It's part of my life of who I am and what I do. Like it's like everything that I do. Whether I work in financial services, I have my own business that revolves around fighting, teaching martial arts. It's that's my life. I've taken this path. I've chosen this path, and that's the direction I'm going. So for me, it's kind of refreshing. Like I don't like my coach and I will finish training. I'm texting him about fights. He's texting me. I'm watching fights at night. I'm watching highlights and I'm thinking about it. Like I'm shadow boxing, walking through the house. I'm sitting at the grocery store thinking about it. And at the same time, it's not overwhelming. And even on the bike, I'm probably usually riding to go think about fighting more, much more than it's me thinking like, oh, I got to get my mind off it. I think like the bike is fun because like you can't really answer the phone. You don't I mean, maybe I'm listening to music or something, but it's like that's the time where I can be like unhinged or just riding and thinking about fighting, thinking about martial arts, thinking about, oh, that's cool. A fight that came up or a fight that's coming up, that's an interesting matchup. Like, what are they doing? A boxing match? Even like kung fu, like just seeing people use weapons and dance or there's so many, excuse me, there's so many cool things about fighting that intrigue me that I'm really getting paid to do what I love, and I get to share it with people that I get to meet for the first time, people that I've known for decades, people that I've known for, for like a long time. So I'm very I'm grateful. Like it's not something I don't like to get away from it. Like my kid's
Yeah.
like, he's like, oh, you gotta take a week off. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll get right back to it after a fight. So yeah, I'm loving it. Like whether it's cornering or what, like there's so many aspects to fighting that I love. Photography. It's something I really don't want to ever get my brain off of.
Man, it's awesome. And it feels like MMA and combat sports are people who are just so passionate about it. Like none of us think about it as our job. We're all in here just because we're so
Right.
passionate about this sport, right?
100%. And it's like when you get to do like how many people could say they're so passionate about going into work every day and you feel for them. Like I've like accounting background, so it's like I respect people because they really set up their lives for the better and become like winners in their own lives. It's just like when I talk to people, like especially like colleagues and things like that, that you'll hear them say, it's storming in South Florida. You'll see people like really just saying, man, they wish they could do what they love every day. And it makes you grateful, and the perspective that I have on it's pretty cool. So I'm I'm grateful.
So, who were the inspirations? I know you were into American football for a little bit, but who were the
Yeah.
inspirational fighters that you saw growing up that inspired you to like, I got to get into martial arts, I got to get into combat sports?
Oh, that's a great question. Who were the inspirational fighters? So, hmm, Robbie Lawler for sure, right?
Nice, good pick, good pick.
He recently retired, and it became more inspirational as I got to be around him, right? Because I saw he was a guy that came to fight, right? So it's like when now like you kind of get to know him, that's cool. Um, Scott Holtzman, he's
That's an
probably,
OG.
yeah. So, but Scott's like a huge mentor for me. Like he was the guy that I trained with when I first started fighting and got the brakes beat off of me, and always challenged me to be better in and outside the gym. It was so professional. He was like the first real pro that I got to see. Like, of course, there's Ricky Rainey, who was like he coached me, helped me train, like, but we trained together. But this is different with Scott because Scott kind of does everything to a T, and like not that I do everything like him. Everybody has their own way,
Yeah.
but they're so influential. And Brian Barberina too. Like, and if he sees this, we don't talk much, but it's like he is that guy who showed me like what a brand of fighting. Like you've seen him fight, so it's like he's just like in your face, and he's smart. It's just like he's in your face, and I like that. Early fighters, man. It's funny when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch fighting at all, and I didn't grow up doing it. But I would switch the channel and like National Geographic or something. When my parents walked in the room, but it was the California kid, and that's all I knew him as. And it was Uriah Faber, and I just loved that he came to fight. I was like, who
Of
is this guy?
course.
I like him. So, and I got so many people to catch up on. But I've liked the old boxers, and like of course the Tysons, Wilfredo Gomez, Orlando Canales, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler. Like I can just go through a list of like old great boxers, Sugar Ray. Yeah, like it's just like, man, I really really enjoy that from the jiu-jitsu scene. Marcelo Garcia, like there's some things like I watch people and I'm like, man, that was cool how they carried this out, but they're monsters. And Like, you see John Jones and like the dominance he's had, and even though he's had like face different things, it's like he's still so dominant. You're like, man, there are some things to take, and and I was like wrapping up with like Nick Lentz. Like, he's a big mentor for me. He's always in my corner, and that man can fight. It's like he's the fighter. It's just I really respect him. So it's just like I'm blessed to be around some people that I've got to watch and learn from and be taught by. While at the same time too, it's like, man, like it's cool. It's cool that I get to be in opportunities like this where I even get to speak about them, because I'll go on a rant. So it's cool. So I appreciate it.
But it's one cool thing that some of the fighters you look up to, you really embody them now in terms of like Robbie Lawler and Uriah Faber, incredibly respectful and nice people, even though they were fighting in a cage for a living. And now here you are being like, my opponent's awesome. Love this guy. You're always respectful. Like, do you take compliments of that? Do you wish you would trash talk more? Or like, tell me more about this attitude.
No, I would never trash talk. It's not like, because my last name's Kasanganay. Yeah, you might know me as Impa, but my last name's Kasanganay. Like, I can't really talk to my mom and my dad if I go out there and like go trash talk. I have a lot of nieces and nephews from my cousins and stuff. Yeah, I have a younger brother, younger sister, and it's not representative of who I am. And most importantly, like for me, I'm a Christian, so it's like trusting God. Like, yeah, take every opponent out for sure. Be ruthless. Be relentless about it. At the same time too, that's like, I don't want to get too high, and don't ever act like I've just made it. Like, when I get this title, it's not going to be, oh, I've made it, now it's done. It's like, there's so much more to go, and there are going to be that many more savages, that many more killers to fight, that many more assassins out there, and the warriors to fight. So like for me, it's like, why be so arrogant, right? And trash talking is just not who I am. It doesn't do anything for me. It's not really like, and it's just the term itself, trash talk. Like, I don't want trash coming out of my vocal cords. I don't want it coming from my mouth. Like, I want to speak life. I want to dominate. I want to do all that stuff, and without even having to lower my opponent. Because like, it's like, if you're only beating people that are bums and you call them bums, like,
That's
are
right.
you really that good anyway? It's like, So for me, it's like, I mean, in every fight I fought, like even like Tim Karen, I fought him, and we watch his other fights because I dominated that fight that day. I didn't finish him in the first round. I didn't finish him in the second. So it's like, I'm not gonna act like there's nothing I can improve in. And you get too high, you forget where you come from. You get too low, you don't know who you can be. Like, I want to focus and stay the course, where God's called me to be, and like keep challenging myself. And trust me, I got coaches. There's Robbie Lawler in the gym. They're teammates, guys who are upcoming, people who've never seen of who challenge me every day. So to act like I'm this trash talking person, I don't look for it. And I also don't put the people down who do trash talk, because you really don't know what battles they're facing. So I think sometimes for them, it's like a reflection of what they're seeking validation from, more so than the people being like, they're just trying to trash talk. They might not know any other way to get it going. You don't know what kind of abuse they've taken, and they're trying to get it back out in a negative way. Like, my focus is reflect God, reflect Christ the best I can. I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I'm definitely not a perfect Christian at all, or human, like nobody is. At the same time, I don't have the right to trash talk another person's like, I almost said offspring, but child, right? Like, like, I don't have that. I don't have that. Like, I like to, of course, my teammates and my coaches, we'll go at each other all day and throw jabs. But when it comes down to like serious business, no, it's not me.
Man, I could listen to you talking about warm philosophy and this kind of philosophy all day long, but we got 1 minute left. So you're going to be fighting on August 4th. Now, talk us on out of here. The last word goes to you, sir. Thank who you need to thank, shout out who you need to shout out, all that good stuff.
Well, thank you first for having me on. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now, shout out to my team, Skill Cliff, DK Fitness, my family, everybody I love, and just, thanks for everybody who's listening. I appreciate y'all. Keep going. Keep stay the course, and don't give up when things are hard.
Hey, appreciate your time and best of luck in the match, sir.
Thank you. God bless.